That's what I get being my own sound engineer, production person, recorder. Okay. 5, 4. Hi, I'm Dan Smigrod, founder of the We Get Around Network Forum. Today is Thursday, September 14th, 2017, and our guest today is Blue Sketch founder Petra Soderling in New Orleans. Hey, Petra.
Hi, Dan. Good to be
Always good.
here.
Good. Thank you for joining us. Always good to see
Yeah.
you. Always good visiting with you. I know the forum's been around for 3 years, and I think you go back, way back.
Yeah, at least a couple of years.
At least a couple of years. So
Yeah.
we thank you for being a premium member. Petra Blue Sketch is one of the reasons that we are able to bring you this kind of programming and being able to do the forum. So we thank you for that.
Thank you.
So I'd like to go through what I think of the 4 services of Blue Sketch: 2D floor plans, 3D floor plans, virtual staging, and Smarttags. I'd like to begin with floor plans, but before we actually talk about the Blue Sketch floor plan service, why don't we talk about why Matterport service providers should be offering floor plans in the first place?
Yeah, that's a great question. I've seen a lot of conversations on the topic in the forum, and a lot of people say it's, you can bundle it for up the value and so forth, but there hasn't been a lot of talk about the actual price and value of the floor plans. And I did some Google searching today on prices of schematic 2D floor plans, exactly the kind of floor plans that we create here at Blue Sketch and what Matterport does and a lot of other people do. And they actually sell for even at least $100, $150, $100. And if you as a service provider can buy them for $15 and the value is 150 or whatever, 100, between 100 and 200, if you're not doing that, in my opinion, you're just leaving money on the table. That's one reason. The other reason is that your job is to help your clients, real estate agents, to sell houses. So if you're able to provide them with this product, why wouldn't you do that? Because it's so easy for you. All you need to do is push a button and wait for a day or 2 days, depending where you order it from. And then thirdly, of course, you want to look professional. You are a technology professional with your cameras, but you're also a real estate professional person. So why not show that professionalism with floor plans and other related products?
Yeah, and I'm going to echo that. Even because my office probably sounds like an echo today, but I'm going to echo it and add one more to that list. So I think where you began first is if you're a Matterport service provider, if you're a photographer, it's an opportunity to either upsell or bundle as part of your bundle. And an upsell can be, a fraction of what it costs to buy Blue Sketch or Matterport floor plans. So that's my impression too. I read the forum and I look at a lot of Matterport service provider websites for insight. And my impression is there are actually a lot of people that don't offer floor plans. And I feel first, they're leaving money on the table, and some, frankly, some Matterport service providers, who don't charge a lot. What their strategy is to get the order for the Matterport Spaces 3D tour and then upsell other services like floor plans. So regardless of what your strategy is, there's a lot of money being left on the table and you should be offering floor plans. The second, I think, Petra, what you talked about is simply helping your client, a real estate agent, sell the property, for the most money with the most offers and the least amount of time with the least amount of stress to the client. And then I would add a third thing, because I'm always thinking about what's important to the real estate agent and the real estate brokers is what I kind of like my mantra is help win more and bigger listings, premium listings more often. So if the agent and brokers using this tool on a listing presentation, then their likelihood of winning the business because they're offering a Matterport Spaces 3D tour, floor plans, and all kinds of other bells and whistles, that's going to be your motivation, your client's motivation for either your bundle or your optional extras like Blue Sketch floor plans.
True,
So,
true.
would you add anything else to that, Liz?
Yeah. I completely agree with you. And the thing with the floor plans and Matterport, they actually go together, because if you're a real estate agent and you're already offering the Matterport models, you have the measurements, so you are able technically to generate or to order the floor plan, versus your competitor, another agent who is not using Matterport. Even if they wanted to get the floor plans, they really can't, because they don't have the measurements. I mean, it's possible that they go into the house with the tape measure and do all that, but it's so much more cumbersome. So
Yeah.
kind of like a double benefit for the agent who is offering Matterport.
Yeah, I'd actually, kind of add two things to that. I know that I was attending an IVRPA conference, a conference of professional spherical photographers, and the gentleman that I was sharing an Uber with heading to the conference told me he was charging $500 for floor plans, and that in the process that he went through of meticulously measuring every room, and it was very time consuming. So in this conversation, he was kind of a little bit skeptical about Matterport and why he should get it. And I was saying, well, if you use Matterport to create a 3D tour, then it captures all the data that's necessary for the creation of the floor plans, and your out-of-pocket cost is less than $50 for something that you're still charging $500 for. So I think the point of that is just because it doesn't cost a lot doesn't mean you can't charge other people a lot, because the perceived value is really high. And as Petra said, you may be talking to someone who is not using Matterport, and they're used to paying whatever it is, for somebody that comes out and just does floor plans, or that may be already charging them $150 or $200. So stop leaving money on the table and help your clients succeed faster, and have your clients help their clients succeed faster. So anyway, thank you for like doing this intro, because it's not just what's the process of ordering floor plans, or what colors and styles are available. And I think it's this big picture. If you're not presently offering floor plans, if you're a real estate agent and broker and you're out visiting with a client and you're not, this is going to be a tool to help you win more and bigger listing presentations more often. And if you're a photographer, this is a solution to help you win more and more real estate clients to win the business. Okay, so let's actually go in and talk about the Blue Sketch 2D floor plans. How would you like to begin that conversation, Petra?
I guess maybe a philosophical approach. So what we're doing here at Blue Sketch, we are of course helping our clients' business succeed, but our philosophy is built around customer service. So we are not a one-size-fits-all provider who creates floor plans and sell them. We tailor floor plans according to our clients' needs, who are the Matterport photographers, or even to their clients' needs. So you may be a photographer and you have 5 regular real estate clients. We would have your information on file and create a tailored floor plan for each of your 5 different clients, with their branded colors and their logos, their way of doing measurements. So the Blue Sketch 2D schematic floor plan is a standard product, in a sense that we have a default style with default colors, default way of displaying measurements, but we also do a lot of tailoring for our clients. So it's a bundle of service and a product at the same time.
Yeah, I know for We Get Around in Atlanta, when we place orders with Blue Sketch, I think some of the things that we like. We typically have a certain style of how we like our room labels done, our measurements presented, that we want our We Get Around logo. We have a disclaimer line that we want used. And I think we've been pretty happy in terms of just, we're probably a slight modification of one of your basic styles. But I think that said, there's yet other ways that you differentiate your floor plans for choices. So, do you want to elaborate on some of those?
Absolutely, yeah. So I did a comparison between Matterport floor plans and Blue Sketch floor plans way back last year. And for this interview, I actually went back to Matterport's FAQ on their floor plans and kind of rechecked what they offer at the moment. And I think it's a good benchmark for Blue Sketch, because a lot of people in the forum know how, how the Matterport floor plans are delivered and what they look like and so forth. So just for those people who are not familiar with Blue Sketch, I just want to run through kind of the differences between Matterport floor plans and Blue Sketch floor plans. I think it's a good way of kind of not just to show the differences, but just to talk through all the different features. So on the FAQ for Matterport, obviously their floor plans come in black and white. So there's just one color. They come with the Matterport logo that you cannot remove based on the terms of service. The deliverables always include a certain type of file. There's a PNG file, and then there's a PDF file. So you only get those two file types. You can't get anything else. And obviously there's no tailoring in how the measurements are displayed, or the file formats or anything like that. And then I mentioned service. Matterport has a customer service support email address that they use for the floor plan feedback. And I've noticed, we've done thousands of floor plans so far, and there's always something to tweak. So when we get the Matterport model, it's rarely that we can just draw the floor plan based on the model. There's usually, closets that you didn't open, that the garage is missing, something is distorted, you want to add something. So there's always this conversation going back and forth between the Matterport photographer and us when we draw the floor plan. And I can only imagine how cumbersome that would be if I had to have that conversation via support email rather than you can call me. We're here in this time zone. So that's one difference. Matterport supports English only. We are a global provider. We have clients in France, Spain. We do a lot of floor plans for Canada, where we use both French and English. They don't support any country-specific requirements. We support different specifications. In the US, you have the ANSI regulations. In Canada, you got different MLSs that require different ways to display area, for example. So we support anything that our clients request that we can technically do. And then there's a thing that I did not know about Matterport. When you order the floor plan from a workshop, you can only order it once the model is finished processing, and the model has to be set on a public mode. So that was news to me. And, I got clients who, usually you go out during the daytime and then you shoot your models, and then you come back home in the afternoon, early evening, and then you upload it. But then if you have to wait until your model is processed, if it's very large, you kind of have to stay awake until it's done if you want to order the floor plan that same day. Whereas if you order it from us, you can place the order before it's processed, and we just wait for it to process, and then we go into the workshop and get all the details that we need. So that'll save you time if you order from Blue Sketch versus Matterport.
Well, I think that's a long list, but surprisingly, I think you've actually left off some things, and I think I would add some clarification as well. And in fact, I've ordered floor plans from Matterport and from Blue Sketch simultaneously. You can go to the forum. If you search in the search box, search with Blue Sketch, Blue-Sketch, and you'll see a post for comparison. So you can see the identical house done by Matterport and done by Blue Sketch. I want to, again, amplify some of the things you've said and then talk about some things that I don't think you said, but I consider an advantage. I believe Matterport's turnaround is 1 to 2 days, and your turnaround is?
It's 1 business day, yeah.
1 business day.
Mm-hmm.
The Matterport logo, if you're removing Matterport's logo from their floor plans, you're actually in violation of their terms of service, surprisingly. And you know, I know we get around Atlanta, we always want to promote our brand, not Matterport. We really, you know, if a client is asking us, an inbound lead comes to us and they're talking about Matterport, we'll speak about Matterport. But otherwise, we're just talking about 3D tours. And when we deliver, yes, it does say, you know, Matterport 3D showcase on there and Matterport, but you know, we don't want to do anything extra to send our client searching for a potential Matterport photographer in our market. So we don't want to promote Matterport's brand. They don't pay us to promote their brand. So we're quite happy not to have their logo on our floor plans or anything else that we deliver. I don't even know why a photographer would want to put Matterport's logo in front of a client unless the client had specifically asked for Matterport. So if you're out, you know, offering 3D tours, you know, today that might be Matterport, tomorrow it might be a different camera, and the next day something else. So you really want people engaging you for your brand and who you are. And so that's why, you know, early on, that was something that I asked for, and I think you now offer that, you know, standard is you want your logo,
Yeah.
you get it.
Yeah.
I think one of the major things that you offer, Petra, that Blue Sketch offers, and you hadn't mentioned, is that, you know, for all of us that do billing based on square feet, you
Yeah.
provide that. Why don't you take us through what you do that makes it easy for us to bill our clients by square foot?
So when we create the floor plans, we get a ton of data. We got data on each floor, exterior. Actually, I'm gonna use an example to talk through this. I have a client from Canada that we create tailored floor plans for them on their colors. So I'm gonna share my screen here. Can you see the screen?
Yes.
Yes. So you should see 2 windows. In the background, I have the client's website. They're called Digital Video Listings from Canada. Hi, if you're listening. They've got this nice brand color, which I love, it's kind of Tiffany turquoise. And we created a floor plan template for them with that color. So if you can see the floor plan here, we actually used their turquoise in the bathrooms. So the floor plan itself has our client's brand colors, but we also created this template where you have a lot of data on the area, on different floors. We have here, if we start from the beginning, we are giving, this is in Canada, so they're requiring the above grade area. So we give the above grade in square feet and in square meters. And I'm not sure if you can see that, but we also put the square feet and square meters inside of each of the main rooms. And then for each level, garage, lower level, main level, top level, we're able to give exterior area, which is the area measured from outside of the exterior wall, and the interior area, which is the area that's measured from inside the wall. And as a Matterport photographer, that's actually your area that you are scanning. So the interior area gives you the area that you've scanned. And for digital video listings, we're giving all of this information for each floor. So this is a 4-floor house, well, 3 floors in the garage. So there's a lot of information. You can see here on each floor, we have the logo of our client, but we also have information of the real estate agent here. And then the last page still using their brand colors. We give the floor area information. We give the wall thickness that we've used, 6.5 inches, 165 millimeters. For again, for each of the floors, we're giving exterior, interior areas. And then for each room, we have the dimensions.
Yeah, looking at this, I just think, thank heavens in Atlanta we don't have to deal with all those rules and regulations and make me insane. But I think the point of what you're showing here is that first, the branding is important. You can do the color palette to match. You want measurements for every room, every floor, for MLS, for listing purposes, great.
You want the heated living areas versus outdoor areas, garages, cold areas. We got all that data. So we don't always give out all the data by default because there's so much of it. But whatever you want, we've got, and we can give it to you.
Yeah, I think that the great thing about getting the for us square feet, but as you mentioned, you provide square meters as well for clients that would like that. For us, we actually do want to know not only heated space but unheated space, but we want to know the numbers separately so that we can bill accordingly. So if you're charging for garages, carports, etc., you want to know what the square footage is. If you're not charging, then you want to be able to have it backed out of the numbers that you charged. And if you're not charging for garage, but you're still scanning it because you want the dollhouse to look nice, then at least you can show it on your invoice, 1,000 square feet, 1,000 square feet scanned, no charge. So, or what we would do, for example, is we would actually show it as a charge, but then we would show it as a credit that you've now essentially saved, X number of dollars. So we don't just, say no charge. We show it as a charge, but then we show the discount to show how much we've saved the client by not charging for them for something if that's the case.
That's a great idea. And actually that makes me think about the value of the floor plan. Why don't you just show the value of the floor plan on the invoice saying $150 when you're bundling it and saying, well, you get it for free,
Yeah, you can show that your bundle includes X number of dollars of added value, which if somebody's trying to compare you to another Matterport service provider and all they're doing is staring at the pricing, you want to be able to say, but we provide you with a floor plan that's worth $199. We provide you with a video that's worth $99. We provide you with painted rocks that's worth $39.37. So, however you approach that. But I think the point is I think we were all tremendously excited in the We Get Around Network Forum community when Metroplex 360, Chris Hickman, was offering MP2 SQ FT plus to calculate square footage for us. It's obvious that Matterport is able to do that, and they chose not to. And then unfortunately, this wonderful tool that was available free to We Get Around Network Forum members was shut down. And so thank heavens, here's Blue Sketch coming to the rescue to be able to provide numbers based on the floor plans. So that we can do billing, just to make it easy to do billing. Languages. What languages do you presently support?
Well, our team speaks English, French, Spanish, and Swedish and Finnish. Not the most popular language. And then if we get the room names from you guys, we can put them in. If any language that we can type on our keyboard. I mean, not Chinese, not Japanese, not Hebrew, but whatever we can type. If you give us the names, we'll put them in. Or actually, we take them from the highlight reel. So if you put them in the highlight reel, and we do that in English too. So if you put the room names in the highlight reel, that's the room names that we'll use. If you don't, then we just come up with them.
Yeah, so I think I actually heard two answers on languages. One is you can get many languages, and two, you can speak to a member of the Blue Sketch team that speaks your language. There's 10,000 plus visitors to the We Get Around Network forum. I know of our 3,200 members, about 40% are actually outside the United States. And I think this is an important consideration. While all our members speak English, it may not be the first language. And so if you're speaking French or German or Spanish or Finnish, then you have someone you can actually talk to in your language, either by phone, presumably, or Skype, or by email, as opposed to if you're interacting with Matterport. You know, I don't know about you, but we need our floor plans back in a day. We don't have the benefit of a second day to get back to a client. You know, a day counts. And so, you know, if somebody says, well, we're going to get it back to you in a day and a half, a day or two, and Blue Sketch tells you they're going to get back to you, you know, in one business day, then I think that's a, you know, tremendous, you know, value.
And also, if there's any corrections or edits needed, when you do get it back, if you're not happy with it, if you want to make some edits with us, you just email me or call me. Usually I can have it done in 15-30 minutes versus emailing Matterport support and asking for edits and then waiting again for them to come back the second time.
Yeah. So I think that's, you know, I think we've been ordering Blue Sketch floor plans for probably 2 years now, and you know, every once in a while we label something a garage. It comes back garaged, and the client says, "No, that's a carport." You know, we call something a living room, and they say, "No, it's a sunroom." So. You know, we do our best to try not to impose on our client to have to review every, you know, room label prior to sending it off. So, you know, we make our best educated guess of you know, what, and we don't always have the full information. We don't necessarily have the benefit of the MLS listing at the time that we're requesting floor plans. So, you know, we're going to label things, you know, a porch, and all of a sudden the client tells us, no, it's a patio. Okay, well, we love the fact that, you know, we can shoot off an email to Blue Sketch, and the change just gets done. Or, you know, if it's something that needs to be discussed, that there's someone on the other end of the line to take the call who can actually act on the information. So,
and also, you know, we have a CRM system obviously for our clients, but our clients' clients as well. So when your client comes back and says, no, that's a patio or a porch, we would make a note of that to our CRM. So, you know, if you put your client's name on your model and we can see who your client is, we'll be able to, you know, pick it up and remember, oh, that's the client who wanted it to be named porch or whatever.
yeah, I'm trying to think of some of the other things of, you know, I think we were talking about file formats. Do you want to elaborate on that?
Yeah, so for example, what I was showing the Canadian client, that's a PDF of however many pages we need for, because we're including one for each page. But the default that we deliver is there's a JPEG, full-size JPEG for each floor, and that's unbranded and there's no disclaimer. And the reason is that it's a print-ready full file for clients who want to do you know, printed leaflets or advertise in a newspaper or something like that. So that JPEG file is great for that. But then we also deliver a PDF for each floor with the logo, with a disclaimer. And then there's one PDF that combines all of the floors in one. So that's possible. We are going to talk about Smarttags in a moment, but it's possible to tag the floor plan with photos or text. And when we do that, the deliverable is an HTML embed code, for example. But we've got all the software programs you can imagine, and we can deliver in whichever format the client wants.
Yeah, if you don't mind, I'm going to share my screen. I just want to show something about floor plans that you've done for us. Do you see do you see my desktop now, Petra?
Yes.
So we put our floor plans in WP 3D Models WordPress plugin, and there's a call out row for floor plans. And so when I click on the floor plan, you know, there's our logo. There's the floor plan for that particular level, and there's actually a link that's available as well that I could generate from that. So what I like is that we get our floor plans in a size that actually matches perfectly with WP3D models. So that I like that.
Yeah, that's the 1920 by 1080.
Yeah,
So we'll
so
deliver that
yeah,
if needed.
yeah. So that, I mean, that's something that's on our job jacket, is since we use WP3D models. I didn't show you, but we also will put the floor plans in the image section of WP3D models, and in this highlight to call attention to the floor plans where they live by themselves. So uh, I guess the one thing that occurs to me, I would say, regardless of who you use, you should be ordering floor plans. But I think that as an entrepreneur myself, and Petra as an entrepreneur, you just know that we work the hardest to help our clients, and we really do. But if you choose to use Matterport to create your floor plans, great. But I know at some point you're going to be calling Petra because the day you need to have porch changed into patio and you couldn't get it turned around in 15 minutes because you had to wait another full day, or that anyway. So I really wanted you to meet Petra, firsthand, hear from her, because one way or the other, you're eventually going to be talking to her, and you just might as well start out fresh. We'll talk about pricing, I think, when we get done with everything, if you don't mind, Petra. We'll get into pricing. So if you're just tuning in, you're watching WGAN TV live at 5. I'm Dan Smigrod, the founder of the We Get Around Network Forum, and joining me on the program today is Blue Sketch founder Petra Soderling. So Petra, we've covered 2D floor plans. Take me through 3D.
Yeah, that's a great product. We love that because we get to put in all the interior materials like floor materials, wallpapers, and then furnish the place. A lot of people use that for renovation targets. So, when someone's buying or selling a house, they order the Matterport guy to come there and scan the place. And then we would do the 3D floor plans to kind of visualize what the place will look like after renovation.
Do you have an example that you want to show? I think I see one behind your right shoulder, but maybe there's one on your desktop.
Yeah, I got all three.
Okay,
Types in there.
Let's slide your screen just back to where it was, and we'll keep the glare out of your eyeglasses so we can see you.
Okay.
Yep, perfect. Thank you.
Okay, sure. Yeah, so I would like to, hold on.
Okay.
I'm gonna share the product page on our website on the 3D floor plan.
Okay, so Blue Sketch, Blue, BLUE hyphen sketch, SKETCH.com, bluesketch.com. So that's the page that we're looking at now on the Blue Sketch website, and Petra has taken us to the section labeled 3D floor plan.
Yeah, correct. So this is the store. It's the product page, but you can actually buy it from here as well. So 3D floor plan, we deliver 5 different files, 5 different images with the order. One 3D floor plan viewed from the top, and we call it lightly furnished. It's got all the furniture in it except all your knickknacks, no clutter. So it looks like a very nicely staged home that's ready to go on the market. And then there's a view from 45 degrees. It's a bird's eye view. We try to choose an angle that shows most of the house. So in this apartment, for example, we wanted to show the kitchen and the living room. We didn't necessarily need to show these the headboards of the beds.
Yeah, I imagine that there's at least 2 uses if a house or an apartment is unfurnished, to do this. If a house or an apartment is just horribly furnished, I could imagine doing this. Are there other use cases?
Well, for new construction, but then we also do these based on the construction blueprints, and that does not involve Matterport at all. But some of
But
you may work with contractors.
and you can work off of a 2D floor plan to create these.
Correct.
So
Yes.
if you're visiting with a potential client and you're talking to them, maybe it's a multifamily home community, they have models, they say, no, we don't need any of the models, but come back in 18 months because we're building a whole new community. That one we want to talk. But before you say, I'll see you in 18 months, say, I can help you today. Let's talk about, and be able to show floor plans, either 2D or 3D virtually staged, even before the building is built.
Right.
Yep.
And the package also includes what we call 3D photos. So there's a snapshot from within the room, 3 of them, usually from main rooms, kitchen, dining room, living room, master bedroom. This is a tiny place. I want to show you something that a French client of ours did, WebMyD, Fabrice, salut. Here's an apartment that you can see has seen better days. So it's obviously out in the market. Can you see this?
Yes.
Yeah. Obviously, whoever buys it is going to renovate it. So what he did here, he used Mattertags to show what the place will look like. So for example, here, if you click on the tag, you can see the 45-degree view of the place, what it's going to look like after renovation. And we did that for several different rooms.
Yeah, great use of Mattertag. So I think
kitchen,
that's like,
for example.
yeah.
That's what the kitchen is going to look like after renovation. There's a master bedroom that they're going to completely renovate. So standing here in the doorway, currently the place looks like this, but after the cleanup and renovation, it's going to look like that. So that's a nice use case for 3D floor plans, and they're a very cost-effective way of showing, visualizing what the place will look like after it's done.
So many of us are visual, and I know myself, I have difficulty visualizing the potential of a space. And so, what a great way to help a client be able to see this horrible looking bedroom. I'm not sure, what kind of room that is, but when you show the 3D model that you created for now, you're helping me visualize the potential for us. Yeah, look at that. It's just it's as different as night and day.
Yeah.
So
there's something else I wanted to show you regarding hold on, don't want to accidentally stop sharing the 3D photos. So you get the 3D floor plan and you get the 3D photos. So what you can do with it actually is you can use our Smarttags to tag for information on the floor plan.
Okay, so now we're talking about a third service that Blue Sketch offers, Smarttags.
Okay. Correct. Yeah, they're all kind of bundled together because you can use them in so many different ways. But I think this is a great way of using the tags. So imagine your contractor is selling this house and they want to give the home buyer information on the countertops, the floors, and so forth. And the great thing about the Smarttags is I mentioned this image is going to deliver to you as an embed HTML code. And once it's on the contractor's website, they can share it in social media and drive traffic to their website. So it's an additional selling point for you to sell the 3D floor plans and the tags.
And the Smarttags are not limited to text.
No. So I'm going to go down and show an example of an image where I tagged. Well, and we can change the icons. It's a magnifying glass. You can give information about whether there's a cable and what kind of plugs you got on the ceiling, and obviously all the appliances. But in this image, I just pretty much used all the tags we can use. So you can embed video. You can have a video icon and takes you to YouTube. You can use a Pinterest tag, a Facebook tag, a shopping cart that will take you to wherever you can buy this refrigerator, and then different types of information, just text. tags. So there's a lot of different media types that you can embed.
And do you have thoughts on how a photographer uses this to get more business, or how a real estate agent uses this to win listing presentations?
Well, sometimes you want to show, for example, things that, if there's a really nice view from for example, here. So here's a house I think it was in California, and there's a really nice view from the balcony. So by tagging the 2D floor plan with the photos, you can sort of show the home buyer where the photo is taken from. I mean, obviously you have all these same photos on your listing site, but when you have them on the floor plan, it just gives you additional information of how the place looks
Well,
like.
I know that a while ago I shot a commercial construction project, a multifamily apartment community. I shot it at the pre-drywall stage. This is quite some time ago, but I could imagine that when they were out selling the 3,000 square foot restaurant space in the 20,000 square foot first floor, that it might have been nice to be able to show the view from the restaurant that hadn't really been built yet, other than it being at the framing stage. So I think that's a case where it might have said, would you like to sell, lease, rent your space faster, even while you're in the construction phase?
Right, right. And if you had a 3D floor plan here instead of a 2D, you could even show, the interior materials and how it's going to look like.
Okay. Anything else on Smarttags?
No, that's about it.
I like on your Smarttags that you're showing, I'm not sure you can see it at home, but it's showing the angle of the view. So if you're looking at, if you have 4 Smarttags in a living room and you're clicking on it to see what you're looking at, then it's you're signaling to the person clicking on the Smarttag, this is the view from this spot.
Yes, and these are Blue Sketch specific tags. So we made these for ourselves, so no one else can use the same tags.
Okay. So if you're just tuning in, you're watching WGAN TV live at 5. I'm Dan Smigrod, founder of the forum, the We Get Around Network Forum, and on our program today, Blue Sketch founder Petra Soderling. Petra, I'm so excited to just even visit with you over all your services. I know you've been working so hard for so long. We chat, by video now and then. We do some phone calls, so it's always good to see you, and you just keep expanding the kinds of, at one point I think we had a little discussion about, competition at some point. Even way before Matterport was offering floor plans, Blue Sketch was offering floor plans. And sometimes you have that sinking feeling when, oh gosh, now I have a competitor and it's an 800-pound gorilla. Well, that 800-pound gorilla is a little bit like an aircraft carrier trying to make a U-turn, and it's hard to do. It's hard to steer the ship. So I think Petra's been able to carve out a business to differentiate her marketing, to the community by offering a variety of different services that you don't get elsewhere. So earlier we were talking about on 2D floor plan, your logo, not Matterport's logo, or your client's logo, not Matterport's logo. And how do you want your measurements to show up, and how do you want your room labels done? And you'd like it in one business day, not in 1 or 2 business days. And
Right.
And you have certain lines of text that you want as your disclaimer on everyone, and you want your own branded colors. So I'm just excited for you because you've done so many innovative things, really I would say even to make Matterport irrelevant, because they can't even compete with you on the different iterations and the languages and etc. So
I'm actually thankful to them. So they kind of hit me twice. So I introduced floor plans before Matterport did. And I think my company was a few months old when I actually met them here in New Orleans in the convention center. And they told me they're going to come out with floor plans. And I was like, oh no, that's horrible. And they did, but I was still doing okay until December last year. They just slashed their price overnight from $36 to $15, and I was devastated. I'm like, oh my gosh, my business is gone. What am I going to do? But I just kept upping the quality and upping the service. And what ended up happening was a few months later, I had more clients than I had had before, and happier clients, recurring clients that ordered all of their floor plans from us. So that ended up being a really good thing, because we really have to push the envelope when it comes to quality and customer service, delivery time, and all these different features, because we know we are more expensive than a lot of other people. So we have to deliver on the price point that we.
Yes. Yeah, as much, I remember when we bought our Matterport camera in July of 2014, and my burning question that I wanted to know was there anyone else in Atlanta, doing this, and I felt, oh, how exciting that, we're going to be the first and only Matterport service provider in Atlanta, Georgia, that is dedicated solely to this solution. Well, we get inbound inquiries because there are people, that are shooting Matterport, but they can't, the person who sees it Matterport, they don't know who the photographer is sometimes, and so they just start Googling, and they find us. So competition, as much as we think it makes our hearts sink, actually can be a huge plus. And I'd love for Matterport to keep promoting aggressively their floor plans, so that they educate people on why you should use floor plans to make more money for your clients, to win more listing presentations, for the homeowner to get the most money in the shortest amount of time, with the most offers, with the least amount of stress, because ultimately that business is eventually going to come to Blue Sketch. So I think that's probably tangential here, but I think it's probably a good lesson that competition is a good thing, and you've experienced it firsthand, that it actually has been a blessing and not a curse for you.
Yeah.
Fourth service, virtual staging.
Yeah, so a lot of you are photographers as well, and you go into the house with the Matterport camera, but you also have a DSLR camera in many cases. I've seen wonderful photos. If the house is empty, we can stage it virtually, put the furniture in digitally. We have, let me share my website here. All right. So you can find virtual staging from the top bar here. We have an interesting statistic here, actually. According to the 2015 NAR profile of home staging, 49% of surveyed agents report most buyers are affected by home staging. In the same study, 32% of buyers' agents believe staged home increase the dollar value buyers are willing to offer by 1% to 5%. So if the home is staged, you could get up to 5% more money.
And let me translate this. Because I feel if you're a Matterport photographer, the real estate agent, forgive me, but the real estate agent absolutely does not care that the homeowner can get 5% more dollars. So the way it has to be positioned is, imagine if you're the real estate agent, you as a photographer, and you're talking to your real estate agent to say, hey, real estate agent, part of your pitch and your listing presentation is that statistically using virtual staging is going to result in 1 to 5% higher offer price for your property, and that's why we offer virtual staging at no charge to you, because your empty house really does need to be staged, and this is how we're going to do that. And if you're the real estate agent, well, that made sense from the listing presentation standpoint. But if you're a photographer, you got to be a little bit careful about talking to a real estate agent to say, it's going to sell the house faster, it's going to sell it for more money. real estate agents, for the most part, really don't care that the house is going to sell faster. All they care about is they got the listing, and they don't really care that it's going to, net the homeowner 5%. Let's call it $5,000 more. Maybe you can do the math for me, Petra, faster than I could. But I'll make it easy for you. Let's say that they get $10,000 more for the house because of virtual staging, and the commission is 6%. Is 600. It's split by the buyer and seller agent is 300. The 300 is now split with the broker and the agent. Let's call it $150. So the agent just wants to sell the house and doesn't, and if they get $10,000 more for it, what's going to end up in the agent's pocket is, let's call it $150 in that example. So it's not, if you're a photographer, it's not about selling the house for more money. It's about the agent being able to use that information, that statistic that is on the bluesketch.com website, in order to win the listing presentation. If a homeowner is talking to 3 different agents, and frankly, most talk to less than that, but they're talking to 3 different agents, and the first agent they talk to is the cousin, is the uncle, is the aunt, is the, and then the second one is somebody, the spouse is at work, or, his friend. And then the third agent, has no relationship. It comes in and says, we're going to do this kind of 3D tour. We're going to do this virtual staging because you've already moved out of your house. We're going to do this video. All of a sudden, the agent has a package that, even though they're not my wife, they're not my friend, they're not my brother, my aunt, my uncle, my sister's friend, my, etc., that they now have this, because what the homeowner cares about is getting the most offers in the least amount of time to sell the house for the most money with the least hassle, with the least stress. So I just want to amplify that, Petra, because I think sometimes we as Matterport service providers can get stuck into talking about things of whether it's like, look at this dollhouse view, or look at these floor plans, or, no. You got to keep translating it back into for agents or independent contractors. They're salespeople. At the end of the day, they are salespeople. And what do salespeople care about? They care about money. So you have to talk to them in a way to show them how they're going to be able to make more money. And it's not about $150 on that example. It's about getting the listing that's going to result in thousands of dollars so if you're just simply, if you're talking to a client, real estate agent, and they already got the listing, then talking to them about virtual staging is going to go over their head, because all it is another expense that comes out of their commission check. But I think, as Petra says on her website, you always have to be, talking to the agent about how doing virtual staging for this empty house will be a great example for you in order to get your next house that is empty. So you always got to be forward thinking about the next sale, because that's what matters to the agents and brokers.
Great points. And I enjoy reading. You bring up this point a lot in the forum, and I just love reading that statement over and over again, because it's something we really have to remember. What are we doing here? Who are we helping, and to achieve what?
Yeah, so I think it's really important. Thank you. And I think it's important that when we start talking about that Blue Sketch offers 2D floor plans, 3D floor plans, virtual staging, Smarttags, sometimes it's easy to get caught up in, oh my gosh, how beautiful that looks. That is amazing in terms of how you've taken an empty space and made it look amazing. What you need to do is a Matterport service provider, as a photographer, is translate that amazing experience is with the homeowner. That's going to be their reaction when they see that Mr. or Mrs. or Ms. Real Estate Agent, and therefore it's another way to help you win more and bigger premium listings more often, to even get more listing presentations. Because as we know, so many of us, when we're looking for a new home, whether we're selling our house or we're buying a house, we're still beginning the conversation online because we want to see how our neighbors are selling their house, or how, and so, when we start stumbling uh, on, on, oh, gee, I noticed this agent always seems to have floor plans, always has virtual staging. I don't know what this, they won't say it's Smarttags, but they'll realize the magic of it. So you got to keep translating everything that Blue Sketch does, so that the real estate agent, and I do talk about, win more and bigger premium listings more often, but even that can be translated into, if you know that the agent, loves traveling and wants to go to Hawaii, I would keep saying that. You see this virtual staging, how amazing this is. This can help you go to Hawaii, another time this year, because you're going to be winning more and bigger premium listings more often. So I'm just trying to make that leap of always looking at services like Blue Sketch, of how that translates to a real estate agent's pitch, which is all about getting more money. And again, I know in our case, when we've done some virtual staging, it's as soon as you talk about anything that's going to cost an agent any more money, then you got to be talking about the next house, the next listing. Otherwise, they have to see it as a marketing expense for getting new business, not on a something that reduces the commission.
Yeah.
Incidentally, I just add one more thing before we get back to your virtual staging. Sorry, Petra, but you're talking, you inspire all this stuff.
This is great. Yeah.
We get around Atlanta, we don't even charge, for virtual staging, if the space is empty. Well, why not? Well, it's just obvious to us that the house is empty. So, we'll do we'll take we'll just assume that that's our marketing expense to help an agent when we talk about money, you'll just find it's not a lot of money. So it's a de minimis expense for us. It just becomes marketing to say, oh, well, of course the house is empty. We have to virtually stage it so that we can help our client not necessarily sell the house faster. That might be the result, but so that the client can visualize getting more empty listings because they can see how these tools get used. I'm sorry. Let's get back to your virtual staging.
Yeah. No, not at all.
Do you offer different flavors of virtual staging?
We have. Hold on. I have defined. I think it was 3 to 5 different styles. Yeah, so we do say that we offer contemporary, rustic, and modern styles. But actually what's end up happening is that we just really tailor the staging based on the client's taste and needs. Often they say that they want contemporary, but then they actually want something else. So that's kind of like, the design terms are not exact science. So oftentimes it's just easier for us if we look at the house, we look at the windows and door handles and things like that, and come up with a style that matches the house.
Yeah, so you have your choice. If you're the kind that likes to give no direction, that's not a problem. And if you're the kind that you have a very specific taste in mind, or your client has a very specific taste in mind, no problem.
Yeah.
I even think, if you go back for a moment to your three-dimensional models, when you pull out photos, from your 3D models, that to me even is virtual staging. It's just at a different price point.
Right.
So, depending on what your needs are, it may be requesting a 3D model in order to get those 3 views of a room is sufficient virtual staging. I would say the kind of service that we were just looking at moments ago, Petra, that you offer, I would call photorealistic virtual staging, it's almost as if it was a real photo.
Yes. Yeah.
And as part of today's program, we're not going to get into the 10 tips on how best to take a picture of a room. But Petra has done an entire hour program, and that is part of the WGAN TV Training Academy. So if you have like, well, gee, I know this is an empty space. How should I best shoot it in order to work with Blue Sketch? Petra did a full hour on that topic.
Yeah, sorry about the length, but it was just so many things I wanted to cover.
Yeah, but is great because for as a geeky photographer, the fact that you shot the same space in different camera heights and from different angles,
Yeah.
that it made it obvious of how best to shoot a space, a room, in order to have it virtually staged. Anyway, so that's part of the WGAN TV Training Academy, that we get around Training Academy. Do you have one or two tips that you just like dying to say because it happened? You get so many images that you say, "Oh, I just wish they did."
Yeah. Well, number one tip is take many, 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 many photos. If you just take one or two from a room and it ends up not working technically for us, then you may need to go back to the house, or then we just don't have a deal. Usually the photos that are taken not from a corner, but just slightly off the corner work best. If you take it from the middle of the room, you end up having this wide angle in your face. So if I put a couch in there, for example, half of the photo ends up just being the couch, and then the TV is like all the way back there and very small. So slightly not from the corner, but 1 or 2 feet off the corner works best.
So I'm hearing you would like 2 walls at least.
Yes.
2 walls. Not from the 45-degree perpendicular angle, if that makes any sense, but ajar from one of the sides slightly. Yeah.
Yes.
In terms of the camera height, you generally would like the height of the camera at?
I don't know, eye level.
Okay, eye level is fine.
Feet, yeah.
And
then show more floor than ceiling. We don't need ceiling, so just show as much empty floor as you can. And also, we cannot place items behind an object. So if there's a kitchen island and you want the dining table to be behind it, we technically we can, but not for the same price. So shoot the space so that the island is not in front of the picture.
Yeah, we're going to talk about pricing in a moment, but frankly, this stuff is the deal of the century, and it's the kind of thing to either bundle or offer as optional extras or gift to clients in order to I don't know. It's me. Is it just Chinese restaurants? You go to a Chinese restaurant, there's always an extra dish shows up. Something extra for dessert shows up. Surprise and delight clients, and virtual staging is a great surprise and delight when you have an empty listing, and you really want to be not vendor client relationship. You want to be partners with your client. You want to be perceived as part of the team to help the agent succeed faster. And so, if it means just, gifting a client the virtual staging on this particular home because it just cried out for it, don't make it a kerfuffle with a long conversation about whether, your client's willing to spend, 149 or 199, dollars on it. And frankly, it doesn't cost you that. We'll get into cost. So, you gift them something that will have a perceived value of 2, 3, 4 times what you actually paid for it, and you want to have long-term relationships with clients. It's not the dollar value of the individual sale, it's the lifetime value of a client. And so what is the lifetime value of one of your clients that's doing X number of properties with you a year, and you have the opportunity to do the next 5 or 10 years? And how do you endear yourself to a client so that it's never going to be a price conversation? that you're always doing the right thing in behalf of your client, even if in the short term it's going to cost you some bucks out of your pocket. But in the long term, anyway, I get squirrel. I get distracted here.
Yeah.
And I think I would just add one more tip that you offered in your hour-long video of staging is, it may seem obvious, but don't be shooting at the bright lights of the windows or the lamps, because it makes it very hard to have a stark bright light. I guess even in your room right there, off to your right are windows, and if we opened up those curtains, it would probably be extremely bright, and you don't want to shoot at the window, because it just won't look nice when it gets virtually staged.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great advice.
It's not my advice, it's your advice. I watched your video. I watched your video. I watched your video. All right, so we've talked about Blue Sketch 2D floor plans, 3D floor plans, Smarttags, virtual staging. Before we talk about pricing, was there any other services that you wanted to talk about? Those 4 services.
Not really, but you just mentioned the word partner when you mentioned that you want Matterport photographers should be partners with their clients. That's exactly the way I feel about Blue Sketch. I feel like I'm part of your team. And in fact, I forgot to mention that I have clients who kind of present me as part of their team to their clients. So I handle emailing between their client about the floor plan. So if you choose, you don't even need to email the floor plans to the client. I can do it on your behalf and kind of act as part of your team.
Awesome. So you get a partner. Yeah.
Yeah.
So in terms of pricing, can you take us through pricing, and then I'll talk about a We Get Around Network special offer for basic, standard, and premium members.
Yes. So the 2D floor plans are priced $49.95. And actually, since my Googling, I think at some point we probably want to up that price a little bit so that people can understand what the real value is. But then again, we will be introducing discounts to go with it. So your price will never go up. It's just the perceived value. When people go to my website, they'll understand what the real value of it. But yeah, 2D floor plan, $49.95.
These are US dollars. Yep.
US
Okay.
dollars. 3D floor plan package that comes with the 5 different images, that's $119.95. Virtual staging is $49.95 per photo. And then Smarttags is $29.99 per floor plan that we tag.
And the $29.95, the caveat is you need to do a 2D floor plan and then get the Smarttags on top of that.
Yes.
It's not a standalone product.
No.
Okay. Terrific. And for We Get Around Network Basic, Standard, and Premium members, save 25% on all Blue Sketch services. So everything we talked about today, Blue Sketch 2D floor plans, Blue Sketch 3D floor plans, Blue Sketch virtual staging, Blue Sketch Smarttags. You've heard what Petra's pricing is. That's on her website. You save 25% if you're a basic, standard, or premium member.
And that's, by the way, that's by far the biggest discount we give to anybody. So you guys are the cream of the cream.
Thank you, Petra. And I didn't even have to bruise you too badly in our conversation to make that happen. So, and then I would just add kind of one other thought here is, this question of pricing, how much should I charge? We Get Around, our rule of thumb is 3 times whatever any third-party solution provider costs you. That's what you should be thinking about. 1/3 is to pick up the cost of whatever service provider you're using. 1/3 is just your overhead of actually running that service and going back and forth with your client as needed, and 1/3 in terms of having a profit. So I would suggest, two things. If I was thinking about, floor plans, it's costing you about $50 less 25% as basic standard or premium member. You're probably charging at least $99 or $149 or $199. Part of that will depend on your market and your ability to negotiate. And But the point is, if you're able to pay less than $50 and charge $150 for it, you're making 3 times what it cost you. And then if you're able to get, even at $99, it's still, more than double what you're actually paying for it. So I think part of pricing is not only what does something cost, but what is the perceived value, and then add to that mix is what is somebody willing to pay for it. And you may start out at $199 until you've heard 10 people tell you no, and then maybe you're going to try a different price. But I'm telling you, if you go out and ask for $149, no one's going to come back and say you're too cheap. You got to sell that to me as $199. So start high and work your way down if necessary. Don't start low. And I would, for all our forum members, you get, the We Get Around Network forum members get a free 30-day pass to the Guide to Matterport Service Provider Pricing. It has deep links to the pricing page of at least 75 Matterport service providers. I think it's a really good thing is just to, if not your market, start clicking on other Matterport service providers in cities near you and see who's charging what, or at least their list price, or if they're not offering it at all, or if it's in their bundle. So again, if you're a We Get Around Network forum member, totally free to be a member of the forum, 30-day pass to the Guide to Matterport Service Provider Pricing curated by We Get Around. And if you're a basic standard or premium member, you have year-round access to that guide. I guess the words I'm stumbling on, Petra, is I can't imagine not offering the services that you offer, because otherwise people are leaving money on the table. They're not helping their clients, and they're missing out. So